Is now called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Legislators May,
Yes.
Rowley,
Here.
Burtis,
Yes.
Tassone,
Here.
Cody,
Here.
Abbott Keenan,
Here.
Kuhn,
Here.
Ryan,
Here.
Chase,
Here.
Holmquist,
Here.
McBride,
Here.
Bush, Mr. Bush, Mr. Jordan,
Here.
Kinney,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Irvin,
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
Present, one absent.
I'm here.
I've got you, Mr. Bush. All present.
Thank you. Legislator Abbott Keenan, would you lead us in an invocation, please? You're muted.
I apologize. I'm struggling with my Zoom. And for that reason, I'm going to today ask for a moment of silence for all of us to reflect on the unrest and the real need for strength in this country right now. Amen.
Thank you. We will suspend the salute to the flag because of our format today. Reading of the minutes, is there a motion to waive the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Are there any communications to be presented?
As listed on the agenda.
Thank you. Before I get to our first item, which is a gold seal resolution and recognition, just wanted to welcome everybody to our meeting. I know we've got some several guests on board today. That's great. Just for clarification, I know there might have been a little confusion out there, but this is our regular monthly meeting of the legislature, is our official session of the legislature. So I don't know if there was some thought out there that maybe this was some kind of a public meeting or an informational meeting or anything like that concerning the redistricting local law that we'll be looking at later in the agenda. But it's not. It's our actual regular session. So the only folks, obviously anyone's allowed to watch, observe, and be part of this, but only legislators are allowed to speak at these meetings. It'd be the same way if we were down here live at the legislature like we normally would be, with folks in the gallery observing the proceedings. So it's no different than that would be in that situation. So with that though, we're starting out with a very, very, very important recognition. Our clerk of the legislature, Debbie Maturo, is retiring very shortly. And so we absolutely need to acknowledge that event and her years of dedicated service. Why don't we start out with Catherine, if you would read the gold seal resolution into the record, please.
Recognize and honor Deborah L. Maturo for her many years of dedicated service to the Onondaga County Legislature. Whereas Deborah L. Maturo began her career with the Onondaga County Legislature as a secretary in September of 1983. She was later appointed as assistant clerk in November of 1986. And whereas Deborah L. Maturo served as the assistant clerk for 17 years, where she acted as the fiscal officer, put together the journal of the proceedings for the legislature, staffed meetings, handled the budget for the office, as well as many other duties until her appointment to deputy clerk in January of 2003. And whereas on May 3rd, 2004, Deborah L. Maturo was appointed clerk of the Onondaga County Legislature, where her responsibilities consisted of, but were not limited to, managing staff, conducting research for legislators, staffing meetings, scheduling committees, coordinating agendas with the executive staff, the chairman, and the legislators, recording motions and votes for the committees and session, and other clerical and administrative tasks. And whereas during her tenure as clerk, Deborah L. Maturo spearheaded information sharing solutions to legislators and the public, including the innovative use of the Onondaga County Legislature website, the creation of a digital sharing calendar, the retention of records in electronic format using DocuWare software, and a paperless legislature that uses Microsoft Surfaces for viewing documents. And whereas Deborah L. Maturo was also the driving force behind initiatives to renovate the legislative offices in the county courthouse and make multiple upgrades to the sound system in the legislative chambers. And whereas Deborah L. Maturo has faithfully led the Onondaga County Legislature staff through its day-to-day operations and has given wise counsel to countless chairmen, floor leaders, and county legislatures. Now therefore be it resolved that Chairman David H. Nick and all members of the Onondaga County Legislature do hereby wish to recognize and honor Deborah L. Maturo for her many years of dedicated service to the Onondaga County Legislature.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Catherine.
So much. Oh my goodness.
Obviously, this is not the format that we would have preferred to do this in. But thank you, Catherine, for getting through that. I know that's very difficult for you and actually all of us. So we appreciate your efforts there. We will open this up to comments in just a couple of minutes, but we have one more item for today. We also put together a plaque that Jamie has and Jamie, if you could read that for us, please.
In grateful appreciation of service, Deborah L. Maturo, Onondaga County Legislature, 1983 to 2020, clerk 2004 to 2020.
So Jamie's going to take that into to Debbie right now.
Thank you.
So Debbie, I'll give the floor to you first, and then we'll open it up.
I'm sorry, to me, Dave, did you say?
Yes, please. Yep, then we'll open it up.
I just, to Chairman Knapp, Leaders May and Irvin, and all the members and the staff. I was good, Catherine, until you lost it. So
Catherine's fault.
From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you. I've been extremely grateful to have had this opportunity to work with such wonderful, diverse group of people. And at the same time, I've had the privilege of being able to help our community members in some little assistance with good government. Thank you for a challenging, rewarding career and for putting your faith in me for nearly 4 decades. There have been trying times and disputes, but there's also been clarity, understanding, and many, many, many accomplishments by this body and by this staff. At the end of the road, I can honestly say it's all been worth it, and I'm so proud to be a part of this organization. To the staff, I just need to take a minute. Thank you is not enough. You are under-recognized for your effective, thorough work and commitment, and I appreciate all of you. I will certainly miss the office camaraderie and, of course, our Christmas parties. Please carry on our mantra of, it is what it is. To Catherine specifically, I so wanted to share this moment with you, but will respect your wishes. Nonetheless, I would be sorely remiss not to recognize you individually. You have been my wing woman for many, many years, stepping up to the plate during troubled times and emergencies, leading the team when needed. All the while carrying on a professional, courteous, calm demeanor. When I know at times it was difficult for you. I truly wish you all that life has to offer, all the best of health and happiness in your retirement. It's an honor sharing the dais with you. And just so you know what 37 years means at the legislature, it means working with 109 county legislators, 30 staff members, all 4 county executives, all 6 comptrollers, and 1 very, very special deputy comptroller. The fact is that over these years, I've spent more time at the legislature with the legislators and staff, both past and present, than I have with my own husband and family. And I'm blessed to have had all of you as my work family. And I will certainly miss all of you. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Debbie. We'll do it again here. Very nicely said. Yeah, again, I'm going to open it up here, but just a few comments on my behalf. Yeah, I've known Debbie's family for a long, long time. They're a great farm family out in Spafford, and her father was a previous county legislator years ago, and the whole family's involved in the community. So just number one, great family. Number two, Debbie, you know, obviously she was 12 when she started at the legislature in 1983. But you know, her the thing that has always jumped out about Debbie was obviously a consummate professional. Took incredible pride in her work and the legislature, and really her, you know, whenever you asked a question, you know, her first concern was always the integrity of the legislature, and that we did it, whatever it was, the right way, best for our community. And so, and what else can you ask from the clerk? And so, obviously, we're going to miss Debbie tremendously. I may pay her cell phone bill for a while, just because we're going to be talking to her, but we, you know, can't say enough about that kind of dedication over the years. And also just, yeah, shout out to that very special deputy county comptroller who's joining her in retirement. But that's for another conversation. So, other folks' thoughts?
Chairman?
Okay. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you. It's Brian. I just a couple of brief words. When I first came on to the ledge, I said to myself, wow, this lady is a real bad ASS, pardon my language, folks. She runs our office, the legislative office, with the utmost of professionalism. She protects all of our, I don't care where you sit, guys, she protects all of our interests every day and never has anything but our best interest in mind. She's also been, just on a personal level, a great friend and supporter of mine. I appreciate all of that so much, Deb. So I thank you. I wish you the best. And I can only hope that the high bar you've set is reached by your successor, because it's a pretty high one. So thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely, no pressure.
Mr. Chairman, it's Linda.
Yep.
I echo some of what Brian said. When I first came down to the ledge, Debbie was like wow, we don't want to cross this person because she's really in charge. But got to know her better and got to know that she has a heart that's really open to everyone. And I've enjoyed working with you, Debbie. Wish you well in your retirement. Have some fun now. Don't worry about the ledge anymore. Just be a retired person and put it all out of your mind and have fun. Thank you for all you've done for us.
Thank you, Linda.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Jim.
yeah, I'd like to echo the words that have been said all along here, and I want to thank Debbie as well. I was fortunate to work with her, I guess, on both sides of the fence as part of the administration at one point, and then now as a legislator. And her depth of knowledge is unbelievable. The words commitment, professionalism, dedication, certainly, describe Debbie and how she's approached her job. I'm grateful for all her counsel, for her husband's counsel too. You can mention that to him. And he's pretty lucky, you're out of his league. I don't know how he landed.
Yeah.
But again, I wanted to thank you very much and best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Jim.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Debbie. This may not quite be the end of it, but for now, we'll move on. So thank you again.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll move along in the agenda. Have any written statements been submitted for the record?
Mr. Chairman, I've received 2 written statements for the record.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees.
None.
Reports of special committees.
None.
The clerk will begin the call of districts, starting with district number 5.
District number 6, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, it said district number 5 on here, but if it's number 6, go ahead. Yep.
Ms. Abbott-Keenan?
None.
Ms. Kuhn?
None.
Mr. Ryan?
None.
Dr. Chase?
None.
Mr. Holmquist?
None.
Mr. McBride?
None.
District 12, Mr. Knapp.
Mr. Chairman, I offer items 1 and 2 for my colleagues' consideration.
Thank you. Item number 1, Catherine.
In memoriam.
Thank you. Leader May.
Thank you, Chairman. I think you were off when we started the meeting a little earlier, and I have discussed with Legislator Kenny, who who has offered to say a few words on behalf of Mr. Mingalelli, who this memoriam is being put forward for.
Thank you. Legislator Kenny.
Thank you, Chairman Knapp and Legislator May. I served 2 years with Jerry. He was a very smart man. He believed deeply in this county. And at the time, I didn't know he was such a wonderful athlete. But as it turns out, he was an extremely good athlete. More importantly, he was a good person. And it was, I feel blessed that I had the chance to know him and work with him.
Thank you, Legislator Kenny. Yeah, I did not know Gerald Mingalelli Jr., but just reading the various parts of the memoriam resolution, yeah, he absolutely made an impact on the county. As Legislator Kenny mentioned, he was a very good athlete, batted .400 for the Syracuse University baseball team, and was local Syracuse YMCA handball champion for it looks like a couple of decades. What he considered his 2 big accomplishments, and he was in the legislature for many years, serving as majority leader for 1 term. But he achieved landmark status for the Onondaga County War Memorial Building, and he was instrumental in instituting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday as a county holiday. So those were two things that he personally took a lot of pride in addition to a lot of the regular things he did. So normally we would, he does not have any family locally, but normally we would give a rising tribute. Obviously we can't do that in this format. So Debbie, if you would, are there any other comments first? Seeing none, Debbie, would you please call the roll?
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney. Bill, you're muted.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Tesson,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 1 is adopted. Number 2, Catherine?
Amending Resolution Number 372 of 1967 regarding the imposition and disposition of sales and compensating use tax pursuant to Articles 28 and 29 of the tax law of the state of New York.
Thank you. Leader May?
Thank you, Chairman. Item 2 is a resolution that seeks to restore sales tax on residential energy use, specifically natural gas, coal, fuel, oil, wood for heating purposes, and electricity. The reason this is being talked about today is that we're in a tough situation, a real dilemma, in fact. We're in looking at our future in 2020. There's going to be a tough balance between how all county residents, 25% of which are impacted by the COVID situation presently, nearly 15% of our residents are on unemployment due to the COVID situation. The thing we're balancing that with is the inevitability or need to lay off county employees to balance our budget or get through this real serious storm that we're in. The true impact of the situation that we're in financially is still quite undetermined. I think inevitably we know we're going to have to make cuts. We know there's a lot of things to do, but we don't know exactly what we need to do. We don't know the level of assistance or levels of assistance we'll be getting from the state and federal government. We don't know ultimately how sales tax will be impacted in 2020. No determination of what amount of fund balance we could use to try to mitigate these circumstances. And I could go on. The point is, we just don't know. And it's a very serious situation. I will say that from my standpoint, because of the number of things I don't know, and I feel it's not the right time to be doing something like this, and I won't be supporting it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader May. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Leslie Jordan.
Yeah, I too, I think it's a bit premature. I mean, certainly the concerns that have been raised in support of this resolution are very valid concerns. I think at this time, though, we really don't know exactly what the financial impact will be on the county from this COVID-19 outbreak. I understand that, I guess there's a desire to implement this now because we can start collecting this tax now. But I mean, we could also implement this in September if need be, or we can wait until the end of, until budget time and address this. I mean, we're really only talking about the difference would really be during the current budget year. I mean, when we do our budget for 2021, we can look at exactly where we are and then make whatever adjustments need to be made at that point in time. We don't know if we're going to be having funding coming from the federal government or perhaps state government, but probably doubtful from the state government because they're in financial straits as well. But I also note that, I mean, right now, because of the austerity measures implemented by the county executive, we're saving roughly $25 million through those measures. I also note that for 2020, we're projecting roughly about $32 million in capital projects. Well, you know, some of them maybe still need to go through right away, but some of them could be delayed. We can delay them to next year, perhaps even the year after if need be. And part of that is $5.6 million in pay-as-you-go. So we're planning on using cash for certain capital projects. I also note that I believe the current projected sort of excess fund balance is roughly about $12 million above, I believe, the 10% fund balance requirement that we have currently in place. So all that being said, I think there are certainly other or additional avenues besides the austerity measures that we could try to implement or utilize to make up for it. Any budget gap that actually ends up ultimately existing, we don't even know what that gap would be, or if, you know, maybe by the end of the year, sales tax revenues increase more than we are projecting at this point in time. The reality is we just don't know. And I don't know that it's absolutely necessary for us to implement this at this point in time. You know, we can look at this later on, and if we reassess it and say that, well, perhaps this is the best way to go, I think we certainly have the ability to do that. I mean, no one, you know, favors the idea of layoffs, and certainly I don't. But again, I think that there are other potential avenues for covering any shortfall that may end up coming to fruition, other than layoffs or implementing a new tax. I know there's some discussion as to other counties, but from what I can see, there really aren't an awful lot of counties that are collecting tax on energy sales. So at this point in time, I think it is a bit premature to be implementing this at this point in time. And so it's my intention not to support it at this point in time. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Legislator Jordan. Other comments?
This is Mary Kuhn.
Legislator Kuhn and then Legislator Rowley.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a proposal that initially I thought I would favor, because I am very concerned about massive layoffs and particularly cuts to essential services for our constituents. But I've heard from a number of people, and I think that the position that Legislator May made regarding the dire economic situation that many of our people and people in my district are experiencing. People in poverty, $4 to $6 a month will not mean very much to anybody on this legislature, but it does to many others. To which end, I would like to read into the record, although I know he has sent this to Debbie Maturo. I think it's necessary to hear the voices from the people who are the poorest in our community. This is a letter that I received from
Mary?
Yes, I hear you. Did somebody call my name? Yeah, well, I will continue. With only 2 days' notice in Sunday's Post-Standard article, the county executive has issued another edict to increase national grid bills under this pandemic. This is wrong. Syracuse United Neighbors condemns this notice, and members of the county legislature must call out the county executive for not giving due process notice to the people with an opportunity to question it and the opportunity to make our views known in a timely manner. County residents for more than 10 weeks are staying home. People are laid off, no income to pay daily life expenses like mortgages, rent, utility bills, food on the table, etc. Many rely on the food bank and or church or community food giveaways, so why pile on the pain? The County Executive McMahon now demands that residents who pay National Grid for electricity, gas, and heat will now pay an extra energy tax on something that we must all have to survive. This is a regressive tax. Has the county legislature looked into the number of residents who have had their utilities shut off in the last few months or years? County Executive McMahon says you will, let's see, if you get HEAP, and this new tax should not be a problem, County McMahon says, the HEAP grants should help pay for this new tax, unquote. Not everyone on the south or west side of the city that is in Sun's target area gets HEAP. Those that do are entitled to that grant because of the cold, nasty, long winters, and we all live in old, wood-frame, drafty homes and have a poverty family income. Many are on fixed income, Social Security, SSI, unemployment insurance, or workers' compensation. We look to the members of the county legislature to rally our county taxpayers for help from the federal government and from our state government. Big business has been helped, but can we do this? Again, that was from Richard Perchowski, the executive director of Sun, and I think he speaks for a lot of the residents of our community and certainly many in my district. And while I am terrified of the thought of layoffs and service cuts, in the same way that we are delaying looking at the budget for a couple of months because, as has been said before, we really don't know. So to put this tax on at this time during this pandemic seems like the timing is wrong and the lack of transparency is wrong. So I hope that we can, when we know more what's going on with our budget, we can perhaps, if we have to, revisit this. But right now, I cannot support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie Kuhn. Leslie Rowley.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, again, I share my concerns, my colleagues' concerns and everything that's been said. You know, it's true, we don't know how bad our budget situation is. I think everyone in the legislature realizes that we have a serious budget problem. We just don't know the magnitude. What we do know is it's going to be temporary. And so, you know, I was initially against this resolution, but now that there is a sunset clause in it, I think it matches up with the temporary conditions we find ourselves in. Having walked in the CFO's shoes in the past, I know the issues that he's trying to overcome, and it's my opinion that you know, depending on the magnitude of the problem, that revenue has to be part of the solution here. I don't know if this is necessarily a good choice, but because it's only going to be done on a temporary basis, I'm willing to support it at this point in time and give the administration as much flexibility as possible during the next months and, you know, potentially years to get us out of this hole that we find ourselves in. So I'll be supporting it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leslie Rowley. Dr. Chase.
The last thing I ever want to do is put another tax on people. However, well, I shouldn't say that. The last thing I ever want to do is to be laying people off and cutting services. And when this came about, it was, well, it'll cost about $5 or $6 a month. Well, that is nothing to us. But so many of my constituents who are now not even able to put food on their family's table, $5 or $6 a month is a lot. And as much as I hear the need for stabilizing our financial system right now, and I would really appreciate it having the sunset clause put in. But you know what? By the time the sunset clause comes, everything should be back to somewhat normal. And in the time when people are hurting so much, to put this on them, I just can't support this right now.
Okay, thank you. Other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to say something, please.
Go ahead, Bill.
Legislator Kenny, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm really in agreement with what Mary Kuhn and Casey Jordan have said, and quite honestly, I'm quite baffled by what Legislator Rowley said, even though I respect his knowledge and his beliefs. You know, our community is hurting, and adding a tax, even if it's a short-term situation, without a clear plan. That's what bothers me. We have no plan. We keep on being said, well, layoffs. Well, you know, no one likes layoffs, but we have to think of all the taxpayers. And not only are they out of work, but they're unable to find jobs this time. We got to stop always going to the pockets of our taxpayers. We have to look differently. And I, for one, cannot support this at this time. I just think it's blatantly unfair. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Kenny. Was someone else looking to hop in? Legislator Ryan.
I just want to say, listen, I never have been, nor will I ever be a proponent of going into the pockets of our constituents and taxing our way out of a problem. But these are, in a sense, unprecedented times. You know, we were just doing the OCC budget, and they had taken a lot of money, an unprecedented amount of money out of their contingency fund to offset. And I'm assuming we're going to have to do the same. We're also in the process of trying to get as many people off of the county payroll that we possibly can to balance a budget, save money on payroll and in benefits. It's going to leave us significantly a significantly depleted workforce. And I understand, and I represent a lot of my district in which Rich Pachalski references, but we are on the potential, without knowing what we're going to get by way of the federal government, and we don't know where our sales tax revenue is going to be coming from. If we don't do this, this potentially could leave us with a very, very, very drastic and very, very short workforce, and layoffs could be big. Now, I don't know that. There's a lot of unknowns. And I'm going to reluctantly be supporting this. And I'll tell you what, it's funny because I talked to, you know, the person that sponsored the amendment in November 29th of 1979 was a legislator by the name of Ed Ryan. So I think probably what is, I don't think there's precedent for this, but I don't know if somebody on the legislature has ever voted against their uncle's amendment back in '79. But I, unfortunately, it's hard because I don't see a way out of this. I don't want to tax a way out of it, but I'll just say this. I wouldn't be supporting this without a sunset. And we have to have a backstop for us to do away with this, because I don't want to tax anybody. I don't want to tax any more than we have to. And hopefully this sunsets. And I would propose this, that there's nothing to say that we can't go back and further amend it and say, okay, well, if we look like we're in a better spot, we can amend it next year. So I would say that. So if we look like we're in a better spot and we've avoided layoffs, we can undo this. So that's where I am at, and I will be reluctantly supporting this and knowing full well the impacts, but without a clear plan, we don't know where we're going to be. So thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Ryan.
Mr.
Other
Chairman?
comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Casey Jordan again.
Yes.
Yeah, just to address a couple of points. I mean, certainly the sunset provision gives me comfort in the sense that, at least in theory, this tax would be removed in a couple of years. But I've been in the legislature 15 years, and I would frankly be enormously surprised if this actually is allowed to sunset. My suspicion would be that when the time comes for this to sunset, there would be a resolution to continue it for whatever reason. Because spending goes up or whatever. I don't know that we ever really have eliminated any taxes the entire time that I've been in the legislature, or that I can recall, except perhaps in 76 when this tax was originally rescinded. There's also talk about it's only $6 a month. That's based upon an average of what the average utility bill is. There's already been discussions of National Grid increasing energy rates. So because this is a percentage tax, then that $6 could very quickly end up being a larger sum of money. Also, obviously, if you're a higher user of energy, then it isn't going to be a $6 a month difference. It could be much more. If you're an elderly individual on a limited income, and for whatever reason have to be having your temperature at a higher temperature, or perhaps your home isn't insulated as well, your energy usage could very well be above the average. So that person could be looking at a larger increase in their utility bill. Lastly, again, this isn't something that either we do it now or we can't do it again for a year or 6 months from now. We can do this in September. And so the difference in revenue may only be, let's say $3 million or $4 million, which is not a large amount to be able to make up, say, utilizing fund balance or whatever. Again, this isn't a do or die situation. And I think there are other alternatives available to us, short of laying people off or increasing the tax on people. So I would strongly encourage my fellow legislators to not support this. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Legislator Jordan.
No, that's Legislator Williams.
Legislator Williams.
Legislator Williams. Sorry.
Yeah. So I just have to say this. I understand there's a sunset clause, but where I'm at with it, especially with the district that I represent, which is some of the highest poverty rates in the district, which is the highest unemployment rates in the county. With a sunset clause or not, I don't see myself supporting this resolution. Right? We are in the middle of a pandemic, yes, and you're asking me to raise taxes on residents of the county with an unknown. I don't know that raising these taxes is going to stop layoffs. If you could guarantee that, the county exec could guarantee that, I'll be the first one to vote for it. We don't know that. We don't know what the budget gap is going to be. So we're assuming things. So I'm not willing to raise people's taxes on the back of it may or it may not. I just don't think that's right. I think people are hurting. People are struggling to pay utility bills and whatever else bills they have now. So to add on another tax to that, I think it's just irresponsible of us. There's other ways and other means that we have to look at before we go taking out the packets of our constituents and residents. Right? They are hurting, and we can't break this budget gap off their backs. We just can't. And like the rest of my colleagues have said, we don't even know what the budget gap is. This could be a simple drop in the bucket once we understand what the actual budget gap is. And then we raise taxes and we still got to lay people off. And we still got to do other drastic measures. So I just think that this is just, right now, I just can't support it.
Okay, thank you. Your comments?
Deb Cody.
Yes, go ahead, Deb.
I have a real hard time with this time too. I'd like to wait on this and see when we have a clearer picture, see if this is going to be absolutely necessary. I'm just talking to too many folks every day who are still struggling to get unemployment, that have been out of work since March and early April, and to add something else on their plate at this time would just be really a horrible thing, in my opinion. So I'm not going to be supporting this either.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, legislator Holmquist.
Yes, I too would like to agree with what my colleagues have been saying. I really do appreciate all of the hard work that the county executive and his team has been doing. And they have worked very hard in finding $25 million right out of the gate. As has been stated, it's early on as far as the financial impending potential crisis. We just don't know yet. And it's just too early. I understand what the county executive and his team are trying to do with this. I really do. And they're looking at potentially, and we are looking potentially at a lot of tough decisions ahead. But on June 2nd, as we stand here today, and for all the reasons that my colleagues have laid out, I just think it's too early. And we should do everything else we possibly can. And a couple people have mentioned our fund balance. That is our rainy day fund. And we are in better shape than any county around us, any county probably in all of New York State. And it is raining, so I look to going to the fund balance before some of these other, certainly taxing, and it has, as some of my colleagues have been talking about, we all in our full-time jobs are working with people that are truly hurting, and there is a lot of anxiety financially and otherwise. So this is just not the right time. Casey Jordan brought up the point that we have every 3 months, if it's truly an emergency, this is always available. But to me, it would be one of the last things we would want to do. So I'll be voting no today too, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, legislator Holmquist. Any other comments?
Yes, Chairman Knapp, it's Julie.
Yes.
So I have a point of clarification. Can I motion to table this?
Well, you certainly can.
All right, I'm going to explain my viewpoint. Everybody has phenomenal points, and we're here because we're leadership. And it's a hard pill to swallow. You're on both sides. Legislator Kinney, you on the one hand, we're talking about there are people that can't afford it. Nobody can afford it right now, and they don't have jobs. Well, on the flip side, we could be sending hundreds of county employees, and I don't believe there will not be layoffs at some point, even with this. This is an unprecedented situation. So we'd be sending people off needing services, and we're cutting, and we don't have the money, and I just think it compounds a potential community problem. Legislator Rowley, I couldn't agree with you more. The sunset clause, the willingness to work with leadership, I trust the team and what they're doing. I think that sunset clause made it more palatable, reluctantly, for me. But I really would like to motion to table, because I don't think any of us are strongly comfortable with this on either way. And please speak if you are.
Okay, thank you. Just consulting with council while we're progressing here. So, legislator Abbott-King, is that a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest that we table it, if just my recommendation, but if you want to table it to our next session, don't put a day number on that, because it's actually a little over 30 days. But if you want to amend your resolution for that.
I think it would be a good idea, because I think in that time, it can be communicated to us what other measures they're looking at. We know they are. And perhaps we could have a better picture, or a more secure picture, to be able to support the financial team on the county executive side. If
Chairman,
necessary.
Chairman, this is Mary Kuhn.
Yes.
I think that the last point that legislator Abbott-Keenan made is a good one, and it's something that Mr. Rowley had called for during the Ways and Means Committee, which is to see a broader plan about how to address this budget crisis. No doubt we're going to be in it, and I agree. I don't want to see any services, any jobs cut or services cut. But I also think if we're going to proceed, once we see a plan with emergency kinds of things that include a regressive tax, we also should be looking at other ways to cut, such as, for example, a 10% cut across the board for legislative and executive pay. We need to step into feeling the pain, which is what a tax is to other people. So that's my thoughts if we move down the road with this. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Go
Linda?
ahead. So now we're just, since we have a motion on the table to table to the next session,
We're
that's
talking about
really what
tabling.
we're discussing now. So go ahead.
And I'm speaking to support the tabling motion because I think that listening to everyone today and listening to people that have been calling all along, people are not ready to vote on the issue. And perhaps tabling it now and getting more information will make a difference, and we can come forward with a plan that makes everyone comfortable going forward. So I'm speaking in favor of the tabling.
Okay. Other comments concerning the motion to table?
Mr. Chairman, was there a second on that motion? I'm just curious.
Actually, we don't require a second on tabling motions. Any other comments on tabling? All right, so we will proceed with a vote. So a yes means we're going to table this until our next session. A no means that we will proceed today with a up or down vote. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
No.
Burtis,
No.
Tassone,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
15 ayes, 2 opposed.
The resolution to table to our next session is approved. So that
Mr.
ends
Chairman.
discussion on item number 2.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, legislator Burgess.
just a word, if I could.
Sure. Yep.
I was waiting and got a little confused. I'm very respectful of all my fellow legislators' comments and agree, actually, with all of them. But let me just paint a picture that I believe I see. Yes, the community is in very dire straits. Yes, people that I work with every day are struggling. Yes, we can't see anything. As I've said before, I view myself as being in a dark tunnel with no light to give me direction of where we are. Are we in the middle, the beginning, the end? I don't know where we are. We do have numbers, though, that we've been provided with some of the details. We're potentially looking at a 35% cut in state aid. Also, this tax could produce 3 million, 3.5 million for the last 4 months of this year. Could produce 12 million next year. I just want everybody to understand, and I'm fine with the table. I just want everybody to understand, I do believe that job cuts are coming. I do believe that we are going to have to do everything. We're going to have to cut expenses. We're going to have to cut our labor force. We're going to have to dip into our general fund, our rainy day fund at extreme levels. I don't think this is a time for anything other than the facts, cold, hard numbers. And I believe that they are bad and they're going to be bad when we get there. I do not subscribe to the theory that we are going to bounce right back. I'm an upstate New York boy, born and raised. Upstate New York doesn't go too high. Upstate New York doesn't go too low. We just lag. And that is my experience, and I believe that that's the truth. While I do have a positive attitude about the area, I think that's the way I've always viewed it. You know, this is a struggle for me. I've never in my life would I expect myself to impose a new tax or to raise taxes. I have done it before once, and that is all. And I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. But I just want to say to everybody that, you know, I've been given numbers and want to make sure that you know what I know, and I believe that it is going to be a bleak picture, and we're going to have very, very hard decisions to make as leaders here. And I just want you to hear me and to be prepared for what I think is going to be a very difficult time for us here at the county. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leslie Burgess. Yeah, just to wrap up number 2, I would expect a sizable round 1 layoff resolution for Ways and Means next week based on this action today. Okay, moving on to the next item.
District 13, Mr. Bush.
None.
District 14, Mr. Jordan.
None.
District 15, Mr. Kinney.
None.
District 16, Mr. Williams.
Leslie Williams. Catherine, why don't you go ahead and read the resolution title?
Memorializing resolution condemning acts of police brutality across the nation that led to the tragic and unnecessary loss of life of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Leslie Williams.
I think that we all know at this time that we are at a crossroads in our nation. And I think that, you know, it's time that we have that hard conversation about, you know, racism within this country and how it affects us as a nation and as a whole. And most in particularly, you know, Black African Americans and what toll it has on that particular community. Now, this resolution is not condemning police officers in general, but just the brutality of it. We know in Onondaga County, we have some of the finest police officers and sheriffs and DAs, but at the same time, we do have some bad apples. And at the same time, the actions that happened to Mr. Floyd should not happen anywhere in this country, anywhere in this nation. And because of that, we have our nation, and especially our own cities, our own county, with, you know, protesters and whatever spectrum you may fall on, whether you agree with how they're protesting or disagree. That is not the real issue here. The real issue is the cause that happened to have them do what they're doing. And I think that, you know, this memorializing resolution will send a message that Onondaga County will not stand for any type of police brutality. We will not stand for injustices. We will not stand for systematic racism. We just won't stand for it as a county. So that, you know, the next time a national incident will happen, that our residents and, you know, our constituents will understand that, you know, we're not going to go out and burn down our city or, you know, vandalize our businesses and homes, because Onondaga County, we don't stand for that type of stuff. That stuff doesn't happen here. And we have a long ways to go. But I think this is a show of support from Onondaga County to the Black community to say, hey, we hear you, we support you, and we're willing to take on the fight with you. Because like I said, it's not about the rioters and looters. We're losing it. We're losing the bigger argument here. This is about that a young Black man was killed by folks who were supposed to serve and protect him. And when are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care the political, what political background you're from. But at the end of the day, human life has got to be worth something, regardless of what the color of the skin is. It's got to be worth something. And I think that this will be a strong message that we send to our nation, that Onondaga County won't stand for police brutality, won't stand for injustices, it won't stand for the things that are going on within when it has to do with racism or when it has to do with the underprivileged. We just won't stand for it. So, Mr. Chairman, I urge my colleagues to definitely support this and pass this measure. I really do.
Thank you, Leslie Williams. I actually forgot to remind you that we need you need to request a waiver for this item since it didn't go to committee.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So I have to request a waiver.
Okay, thank you. Is there any objection to the waiver being granted? Hearing none, the waiver is granted. Is there other discussion on this item?
This is Legislator Kuhn.
Yes, Legislator Kuhn.
Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing the waiver. We would not have done this except that the events of the last couple of days required that something be done in a more immediate way. I just like to amplify Legislator Williams' voice and recognize that what we're talking about is that one of the sentences here talks about Onondaga County Legislature has a moral obligation to unite and to heal our community by protecting civil rights and liberties of all people. This whole last week has made so many people uncomfortable, and I hope that we stay uncomfortable enough in order to continue. To me, this is the beginning of what we need to do. We can't go to sleep on this, so I'm hoping this memorializing resolution is the beginning of an ongoing conversation in our community about the issues that Mr. Floyd's death have brought us to almost a traumatized place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie Kuhn. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman, it's Linda Irvin.
Yes, Linda Irvin.
I would like to commend my fellow colleagues for getting this together in a very quick manner, and also commend our legislative aide, John DeSantis, for helping them out, and also for Yvette and Law, because they worked tirelessly for yesterday up until last night and into this morning to get this to pull this together. But it is a necessary step, and it is clear that we need something going forward to start us talking about this and making some real substantive change, because there's no way that we should have this happen ever again in this country, and certainly we don't want to have anything happen like that here in Onondaga County. So I would urge my colleagues all to support this resolution, and then support the fact that going forward, we need to sit down and talk about how we make things better going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader Irvin. I think someone else was chiming in right at the same time as Leader Irvin. Is there someone else?
Chairman Brian
Yeah,
May.
Leader May.
So first and foremost, I'd like to really seriously compliment Legislator Williams for a really good presentation of this memorializing resolution. I think Legislator Williams did a great job really getting to the heart of his intent and portraying that. I realize we're all working on a very short timeline here, and our session is when it is. This resolution addresses a very serious and important, if not grave, issue that needs to be fixed, and I totally agree with that. I'm a little regretful, and I do intend to support this, particularly for the intent that Legislator Williams described, beginning of this discussion. I wish we had a little more time to perhaps align the resolution with that intent, or to talk about it as Leader Urban just described. I think there's more we could have said today. I think there's more we could have done. I'd love to see this address or even condemn, opportunistic violent behavior from anybody. It's horrible. I would have loved to even complimented the fact, as Vern did, that our local law enforcement agencies did a really good job over the weekend, not only allowing people to protest in peace, but keep the peace. If we look up and down the thruway at the major cities in upstate New York, Syracuse, Onondaga County did a pretty nice job allowing things to happen as intended and as desired. And as Legislator Kuhn said, this is an uncomfortable situation for all of us, and it should remain as such until we figure some of this stuff out. But again, I just wish we had a little more time to work on this together. Either way, I'm supporting it today, and again, I compliment Vern on it. But I think those are two real important issues that warrant discussion, and that is the violence. It shouldn't happen, and the fact that our local law enforcement did a pretty good job keeping the peace in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Other comments?
Chairman, this is Ken Bush.
Yes, Legislator Bush.
This came about pretty quick, and I was not aware of it, but I would like to be listed as co-sponsor. And I'd like to echo Legislator May's comments, and also to reach out to our local police, the troopers, the sheriffs, the city police, the village police, and commend them on the fine work that they have done and are continuing to do in bringing this community together. We don't often see those in the headlines, but I know from being on the Public Safety Committee last term that how hard the police department in the town of Camillus is working on working with the social and racial issues that we all are challenged by. So anyway, that's I tend to support this resolution.
Thank you, Legislator Bush. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Legislator Rowley.
Yeah, I'd like to echo comments as well from that my colleagues put forward today. The Floyd video we've seen, I can't even watch it. It's sickening. And I think we all condemn it wholeheartedly. But I as well would want to recognize our police force. It sort of hit home for me this weekend. I have a nephew that I'm very close to, who's a first-year officer with the Syracuse Police Department, and it was not an easy weekend last few days. And I think he did a good job. He worked a lot, and I think the police department in general in Syracuse did a fine job, and I want to recognize that, as well as our sheriffs and our state police as well. I think they, at least locally, did a very good job, and I'm proud of them. So that's all I would like to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Legislator Rowley. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman, John McBride.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to echo the comments too of my colleagues. This is a very important issue. And I too have a family relative who's a NYPD officer. And he called me to tell me how proud he was, a native Syracusan, and to see how we address this on a local level, and what a great job that his colleagues in blue did to keep our neighborhoods safe and keep our streets safe. So I just want to say that I'm proud of our law enforcement officers with the job they've done. And this is a national tragedy, and we're just lucky to be living here in a community that is the finest. And let's just hope that Legislator Williams, his comments are echoed through our community, and I wholeheartedly support this resolution, and God bless Onondaga County and the city of Syracuse going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator McBride. Other comments?
Yeah, Chairman Deb Cody.
Yes, Legislator
just,
Cody.
to John McBride's comments, I just want to thank Legislator Williams for submitting this and for his comments, and also, to Leader Irvin's comments about having a greater conversation, starting a greater conversation about this. I would wholeheartedly support that and hope that this is the beginning for that conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Cody. Other comments?
This is Legislator Kuhn again for a very brief follow-up.
Yes, Legislator Kuhn.
I just want to echo exactly what was just said. This should not be the end. Of course, we will be discussing this in future meetings. So the fact that it had to come across so quickly is because these events unfolded very quickly. But I absolutely support the ongoing conversation in this body and throughout our community. In addition, I would like to commend the protesters who, through their anger and justifiable rage, remained peaceful in their protest for the most part. The majority of the people, the majority of the time of protests, many of the ones that I was at were very peaceful, well organized. There was anger, but it was organized and it was peaceful. So we owe a lot to our community members as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Legislator Burgess.
Thank you. Yes, I'm grateful to have, even if it's a memorialized resolution today, to have the issue here at the legislature at this very difficult and sobering time. My point is as Legislator Cody, is that while I'm happy to support this type of resolution, I think it's high time to bring leadership involved, whether it's the county executive, the mayor, the city of Syracuse, this county legislature, or employees of Onondaga County. It's time to come together and have serious discussions about the community's frustrations and the community's anger and the way that they are feeling. I think result of protesting and looting is, which are two different things. I respect their right to protest. I think what happens, it comes out, is their total frustration and loss of hope. Just the way that they are feeling, and it's been said before that is what you get. We have a lot of factors that have just made this a tinderbox, and I think it just is high time that we cannot, as leaders, look the other way. We cannot say that tomorrow will be better. I think we have to work at it, and it has to be done. It just has to. We just need to get to work on it. And I have great respect for the leaders who have tried to keep everyone together. And so thank you so much for this, and I will be voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Burgess. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, it's Linda again.
Yes, Leader Irvin.
I am very happy to hear the comments, and I'm very happy to hear that the heartfelt comments that have been made today. And I will remind everyone that going forward, it's time to sit down at the table and take some action. So when that time comes, I want to hear the same comments and the same action. Thank you.
Thank you, Irvin. Any other comments?
And Chairman, I would say.
Oh, sorry.
Legislator Williams.
Chairman, I will say this to my colleagues: thank you. But this is what unity looks like. This is how you rebuild a nation. What we're doing right here. We're all from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, different race and creeds, but we can agree when we see an injustice. That's how you rebuild a nation. And I will say this on a record. No amount of laws you pass will stop racism. What stops racism is folks willing to work together, folks willing to learn from one another, folks willing to go and learn the extra thing about this person, folks willing to put down their blinders and have an open heart and an open mind. So I say that to all, that what leadership looks like is leading in the moment and not waiting to be led. Thank you all.
Thank you, Legislator Williams. Any final comments? Clerk will call a long call, please.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Bloomquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution 2A is adopted.
District 13, Mr. Bush.
None.
District 14, Mr. Jordan.
None.
I'm sorry, I messed up the, my apologies. District 17, Mrs. Irvin.
None.
District 1, Mr. May.
None.
District 2, Mr. Rowley.
None.
District 3, Mr. Burtis.
Legislator Burtis?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would present items number 3 through 10 and urge their adoption.
Thank you. Number 3, Catherine?
Tax apportionment.
Legislator Burtis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, number 3 is from the Commission of Finance to disperse mortgage tax for various villages, towns in the city of Syracuse. This is for a period from October to March, and I urge everybody to adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Quick comment, this is money from mortgage tax that we bring in and send out to our various towns and villages. Well, we're actually one of the few counties that do that. If there are no other comments, the clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Bloomquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 3 is adopted. Number 4, Catherine?
Accepting a donation from Lions Club International Foundation for first responders during the COVID-19 crisis.
Legislator Burtis?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is undoubtedly the easiest thing we will do today. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are accepting money, a donation from the Lions Club International Foundation for first responders. This is in the amount of $7,500 to pay for respite meals for Onondaga County's first responders. this was this is for first responders during this COVID-19 pandemic. So urge everybody to accept money. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Burgess. Other comments? I would just say very quickly, thanks to Lions Club International Foundation, they actually had $100,000 set aside for all of New York State. 7,500 was our share of that, and that was coordinated through the Pompey Lions Club of the Great 12th District. And thanks to all those folks up there for everything they do. This specifically went to buy meals for first responders and healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. As Legislator Burgess said, it's a great thing, and we very, very much appreciate it. Any other comments? Clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May.
Yes.
Irvin.
Yes.
Abbott Keenan.
Yes.
Hume.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Chase.
Yes.
Holmquist.
Yes.
McBride.
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
Kinney.
Yes.
Williams.
Jesus.
Was that a yes, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Rowley.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hassan.
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 4 is adopted. Number 5, Catherine.
Adoption of annual budget for Onondaga Community College for fiscal year September 1, 2020 to August 31, 2021, and authorizing the county executive to enter into contracts with other governmental units in which appropriations and revenues are approved by the adoption of the 2021 budget.
Thank you. Legislator Burgess.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is regarding the OCC budget. We did have a budget a hearing on this May 13th. OCC has already been, as it's been said here previously, OCC has done a great job on their budget. Appreciate it so much. They've used money out of their rainy day fund. This budget has no increase. There's no ask for capital plans from us. They did it in a retirement incentive as well, and they were able to bring to us what I believe is a very good budget, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, other comments on the OCC budget? I would echo Legislator Burgess's comments. I think this is at least the 3rd year in a row that they've kept their ask flat, and with no additional capital projects either. We certainly appreciate that, especially this year, based on our earlier discussions. And, you know, obviously they're going to have challenges just like we are from New York State with some very significant cuts. And so we definitely appreciate their efforts. We also appreciate their efforts in regards to responding to this situation with coming out with a bunch of different course offerings to help people who may have been displaced by this pandemic situation to get skills in other areas in case they have to change careers, in case their job does not come back. So we appreciate their effort, their communication, and you know, their presence in the community. So thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah,
Cool.
Chairman Deb Cody.
Yes, go ahead, Legislator Cody.
I'd just like to echo what you said. They just do such a great job. And aside from presenting a great budget, just thank them for their flexibility and their creativity and willingness to think outside the box and do what needs to be done, you know, to face what's ahead, even though they're not really sure what that's going to look like, but they do it with great with a great attitude. So just thank you to them.
Thank you, Legislator Cody. Any other
Chairman
comments?
Chairman John McBride.
Yes, Legislator
Supposed to
McBride.
see being in my district, I want to give a great shout out to President Crable, Sue Tormey, the entire team. Another outstanding job in a very difficult scenario. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of what they bring to our community. They are a real gem, and they're transparent. Their communication is top of the line. They're just excellent partners in the community and for the county. And I just wanted to, for the record, say that I'm very proud to represent them in the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator McBride. Other comments?
Leader May, it's legislator Abbott Keenan, and we're talking the money side and how financially responsible they've been, which is amazing and creative. I just wanted to also note the enrichment they provide to kids who might otherwise not have an opportunity to go to college, and how they specifically are targeting some of our local high schools with partnerships that see them through college. And I think that you can't put a dollar price on that. It's just an incredible resource. And I'm jealous of you, Legislator McBride, to have that in your district.
Thank you, Legislator Abbott Keenan. Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Quist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Tassone,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 5 is adopted. Number 6, Catherine.
Approving the inclusion of viable agricultural land within certified agricultural districts pursuant to Section 303B of the New York State Agricultural and Markets Law.
Legislator Burgess.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this 6 and 7, this is about the public hearing that we just had earlier. This is landowner request be included in the ag district, the ag land district within the ag district. This is for properties, Onondaga, in the town of Onondaga, town of Camillus, town of Elbridge. We had a great process and urge everybody's adoption.
Thank you, Legislator Burgess. Other comments? Again, this is for land outside of District 2, which is the district that's actually up for renewal, which will be the next item. Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Tassone,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Item number 6 is adopted. Number 7, Catherine.
Renewing modification agricultural district number 2 in the towns of Marcellus, Skaneateles, and Spafford.
Legislator Burgess.
Yes, this was also part of the public hearing that we had earlier. This is providing for notice of the 8-year review, as it says here. It's for district number 2, towns of Marcellus, Skaneateles, and Spafford. We had a good discussion at Ways and Means about this and about what is entailed in the process. And we just urge everyone's adoption.
Thank you, Legislator Burgess. Other comments? Again, for district number 2, this includes additions and removals. For the other districts, you can only add properties when they're not up for review. Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 7 is adopted. Number 8, Catherine?
Acceptance of funds from Empire State Development for the preparation and update of the Onondaga County Comprehensive Plan and authorizing the county executive to enter into contracts to implement this resolution.
Legislator Burgess?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is, as stated, the project budget includes state grant funding of $100,000 through Empire State Development, $10,000 in cash matching funds from Onondaga County, and $90,000 of in-kind staff services by SACPA and participating county staff. This is a great thing. We are going to be updating our comprehensive plan, and we're going to be authorizing it with this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Burgess. Other comments? We had a very good presentation by Dan Kwasnowski and his team at SACPA concerning this. They've done a nice job of reaching out to the city as well as the towns and villages to get their input and their priorities. And I'm looking forward to a very good product here. Other comments? Clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 8 is adopted. Number 9,
Standard workday and reporting resolution.
Legislator Burgess?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is just a standard workday and reporting resolution as we do. This is for elected and appointed officials. We will report the following day's work to New York State and local employees retirement system. This is something that we do, and it's pretty standard. Just urge everyone's adoption. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Thank you to our clerk of the legislature, Debbie Maturo, for her work on these. These are not easy and take a lot of time and effort and work putting these things together. So thank you very much to the clerk for taking care of these on an ongoing basis and for the last many years. Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney, Mr.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 9 is adopted. Number 10,
2020 transfer resolution.
legislator Burtis.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is for the BOE. We're just transferring $10,300 from supplies and materials to professional services. This is the result of a cost of a contract increase with the provider, which is NTS. Was not anticipated. This is budget neutral. We just need to vote on the transfer. Urge everyone's adoption.
Thank you, legislator Burtis. Other comments? Hearing none, clerk will call a long call.
Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Hassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Resolution number 10 is adopted. That concludes our resolutions. We will now move on to our local laws. Leader May, would you like to, or first we'll have Catherine Regan, local law A, and then we'll turn it over to Leader May.
A local law amending Article 6 of the Onondaga County Charter and further amending Article 6 of the Onondaga County Administrative Code with respect to the 2021 county budget cycle.
Thank you. Leader May?
Thank you, Chairman. Local Law A very simply moves back the 2021 budget process from early fall to late fall because of the big topic that seemed to permeate a lot of our discussion today, which is the county's finances. We're going to need to get later in the year to really have a better picture of how things are going to finish in 2020 and how things are going to look in 2021. So this amendment very simply changes the time frame within which we'll be doing our budget process. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader May. Other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, legislator Burtis.
Look forward to everyone's attendance there. It's going to be another grueling budget cycle, and we're going to have a lot of very serious work to do. So just I look forward to that and everyone's participation. Thank you.
Thank you, legislator Burtis, Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, who will be running the budget process to a large degree. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman, it's Linda.
Yes.
I think this move is a good move and probably should have been done in the past because we never have enough information at budget time on the schedule we were on before. So I think it makes sense to move it back so that we'll be able to have a clearer picture going forward. And I certainly support this.
Thank you, Leader Irvin. Other comments? Just to remind everybody, this is a one-year resolution, or local law, I should say. So once we get through this budget cycle, we can take a look at it, see what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we can make a decision if we want to keep this format, if we want to return to the old format, or which I have a feeling might be the case, we do something in between. tweak this a little bit that once we have more information. So anyway, yes, this is definitely something that we need to do for this year, and hopefully we'll have the information we need. Literally, the budget process would normally be starting this month. So definitely a lot of questions out there still. Any other comments? Clerk will call, long call, please. Debbie, you're muted.
Sorry. Legislators May,
Yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan, Abbott Keenan, Abbott Keenan, Kuhn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Chase,
Yes.
Holmquist,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Bush,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Kinney,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Rowley,
Yes.
Burtis,
Yes.
Tassan,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Abbott Keenan.
Thank you, Deb. Sorry, I'm having struggles with Zoom again. Yes.
Maybe, okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Chairman Knapp.
Yes.
17 ayes, none opposed.
Local law A is adopted. Local law B, Catherine.
A local law amending section 207 of the Onondaga County Charter and section 217 of the Onondaga County Administrative Code to revise the Onondaga County Reapportionment Commission to ensure a non-partisan, fair, and objective process by which the Onondaga County Legislature the Onondaga County Legislature districts are reapportioned.
Thank you. Legislator Ryan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. So in front of you is a new law, a comprehensive law, amending the current county charter. So a lot of some of the colleagues here that have been around long enough to remember that this not necessarily a new concept, going back to 2017, previous resolution for a advisory commission. So this is back in a new form. Obviously, there have been some significant changes, some significant modifications, but I truly believe that if we really want to move to a citizen-led, true democratic process, whereas citizens redraw district lines instead of electeds, I think it's a necessary step, an imperative step that we have to make. I understand that, I know for the majority of the colleagues here that they were in receipt of the law 11 days ago, but I think in the law you will find that, the new and improved legislation and the amendments calls for a great deal of public engagement, promotes diversity, promotes independence, promotes civic engagement. I hope that everybody found in section 4, I think it's a great inclusive of good governance groups, academic scholars, and other civic groups that have demonstrated a commitment to voters' rights and the best practices for reapportionment. I've said it a couple places. I've said it in 2019. I've said it in 2017, and I won't go on. But we have a problem. It's a national problem, and it seems to be a bit of a local problem. I think citizen-led, independent redistricting commissions are end the process of gerrymandering. And I think that most citizens and our constituents would embrace that concept. So I offer that up. I welcome any comments or any feedback for sure. So with that said, I guess I would open it up and be willing to suggestions.
All right, thank you, Legislator Ryan. Yeah, as you mentioned, we've had this for a few days, not a lot of days. This has not gone to a program committee yet. You know, it is certainly a very, very comprehensive and very involved proposal. And you know, obviously, this is a very, very important topic to the community, and you know, we want to take it very seriously, and we want to give this every opportunity to be vetted and discussed. And so, with that, I am going to refer this, commit it, I think is the official word, to the Ways and Means Committee, which will be meeting next Friday, the 12th. Chairman Burtis, will you accept this on your agenda for next week?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that, Chairman Burtis. And, you know, we talk about budgetary issues, complex issues, capital improvement projects, and we say, you know, get 2 bites at the apple. And I'm certainly comfortable in this going to Ways and Means. I'm hopeful that we can have a good debate. We can have some constructive thought on the matter, and I look forward to it. I really do. And you know, is the law perfect? I don't know if it's perfect, but I'm hopeful that we're somewhere near a point where it is that something that we can live with. But I think I just want to say that although I'm optimistic that we go back to Ways and Means, and I'm all for the committee process. And I think that each one of us, all 17, have a good opportunity to weigh in. But I know that it's very important to put this up on the November ballot. So I just want to make sure that we know that in a time frame as to what I'm dealing with, and I'll just be very open, very honest, and very transparent of what it is. You know, I'm hopeful that we are able to come to a consensus and agreement as to what the amendments and the changes to 207 are going to look like for our July 7th session. So it's imperative that it's voted on, or I'm hopeful that we come with some modifications by the July 7th, because that will be our time frame for this to be put up in the ballot box in November. So I look forward to that conversation, and I hopefully it takes us to a good place.
Right. Thank you, Legislator Ryan. So Local Law B is being committed to Ways and Means for the June 12th meeting.
Chairman, this is Legislator Kuhn. I have a question.
Yes.
Will that committee meeting, as this is open to the public, will that committee meeting also be open to the public, since committee meetings usually are?
Yes, absolutely. It'll be our normal procedure.
So people will be able to zoom in as
Yes.
they are now. Great. Is there?
Yes.
And I also, why was this not on the Ways and Means Committee meeting this past month?
Because the agenda was already released when this legislation came forward.
The legislative agenda was released? Okay. All right. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this, as I mentioned, this is being committed to Ways and Means. Is there any unfinished business to come before the legislature?
I would like to just have a final say for a moment. As we started this meeting with a moment of silence and recognition of what has been transpiring in our country over the past week, I'm very excited that our whole legislature seems to want to continue to speak around the table. And I think that's a positive thing. And I'm really hoping that what that means is that we will all be just as horrified by the fact that young Black men are more likely to be killed by police officers than their white counterparts, and that we're more horrified by that than we are by any looting. So I look forward to the conversation, and thank you very much for the passage of that memorializing resolution. Thank you.
Okay, there are no, I will make one announcement from the chair. You know, obviously we've spoken about this before, but this is not the ideal platform. You know, the Zoom platform is certainly better than the WebEx one that we used before. But, you know, this is difficult times for everyone. I would obviously much prefer that we were all together and being able to speak to each other in our session room like always. And hopefully before long, we will be back at that. But, you know, there are limitations, unfortunately, to the technology that limit some of what we can do and how our discussions go. But we've made the best of it, and so far I think we've had good products come out of it. So I just wanted to make sure everybody recognized that before we adjourned. One last time, many thanks to our clerk Debbie Maturo and our deputy clerk Catherine French, who will be sorely missed. And one more little round of applause as we adjourn. Leader May, will you make the motion to adjourn the meeting?
Chairman, I move to adjourn until Tuesday, July 7th.
Thank you. We are adjourned.